If you're looking to create some talismanic magic and make some shifts in your life, look no further than this week ahead. Make a decision, set an intention, maybe do a vision board, maybe write down some intentions and put them in a journal. Putting intention into purification, intention into magic, intention into your sacred duty or calling. I have so many artist friends who are born with Venus and Virgo, and actors that I know who are extremely method actors or detailed at their craft and are famous and super successful for the precision of their art. You're going to be able to use this information not to be afraid of the sky, but to prepare so that you can work with this energy consciously.
Lunatic Astrology.
Love and money goddess Venus is just about to change signs on July the 9th. And this week ahead, she crashes right into the south node of fate. Well, she also forms a shock and awe square to Uranus. Simply said, massive unexpected turning points in each of our lives connected to love, beauty, relationship, and financial matters. Venus surprises can be good or they can be difficult. It's all depending on the sky. And we're going to break it down this week ahead so you know how to handle this shake it up energy, which is beginning to play out as early as Monday this week ahead, which will be the 6th of the month of July and all the way through until next Monday as well. One thing I want to say about Venus is that she is what we call a benefic or a positive planet who tries to bring positive worldly things to us, our love, our pleasure, our beauty, our finances, all of those things that we want in this perks of life called the matrix. However, when she bumps into the south node is generically speaking what we let go of, surrender or release, what is asked to be flushed down the proverbial toilet. There may be some situations, even in friendships, where you're ready to release it. And we're going to talk about how that looks. It really does depend on your sign. Also, in world events, we'll see parts of the world and people who are famous connected to Virgoian stories having major shakeups as well. And again, we'll break it down in our hour to an hour and 15 minutes together today. So welcome. My name is Lori Lothian. This is Lunatic Astrology, and this is Western Tropical Zodiac Astrology as well, not sidereal. And I hope in today's video, you're going to be able to use this information not to be afraid of the sky, but to prepare so that you can work with this energy consciously. Every single planet has an archetypal level of expression. For example, Neptune can bring you addictions and self-undoing around escapism and delusion and mental health challenges, where you can use Neptune as well for storytelling, imagination, and the heights of spiritual attainment. So there's always a way that you can take whatever is happening in the sky and break the most negative code that Venus would give you and elevate it to something more powerful and more positive. So in today's video, we'll be discussing how to use a Venus in a condition of her fallen in the sign of Virgo, ruled by Mercury, getting ready to go into the heart of the sun and die. There's a lot of layers to this story. I hope you'll be able to understand what I'm about to share, but it is quite compelling because as the Lord of Virgo is getting ready to pass into the sun's heart and be renewed and born again, thus purified, there's an area of purification embedded into this Virgo, Venus, square, Uranus, co-joined the South Node of Fate. Rightio, let's get started. And if you're new here, welcome. By the way, I am a teaching astrologer, and if you would like to learn anything from me, one of the things that's coming up right now is my Sky Reader class. Only teach it once a year in the fall. This time we have 7 weeks live, starting on the 3rd week of September. We have Q&As weekly. We have 2 Facebook groups, a Facebook and a Discord group. We have teaching assistants helping me, and it is fun as hell to learn to read your sky, be your own astrologer, and time your best life. If that kind of thing is interesting to you as a novice, as someone who wants to learn more about how to use astrology yourself, please join me, because by the end of July, that discount code is gone, which is a price point, not a code, of only of $200 off the regular price. It's never been discounted by $200 ever before, but it's only for people who sign up between now and the end of July. Otherwise, the rates will increase after that for the tuition. Check the link below for the website to check the course ingredients to see if it's something that you're interested in doing. I want to say about Venus a bit that sometimes we get really hung up on dignity. When we look at Venus in a difficult sign, which is Virgo, because she's exalted in Jupiter's sign of Pisces, we always think, oh no, she's in a problem. But a fallen planet in Virgo, in this case, Venus in Virgo, starting on July the 9th, and she'll be in Virgo all the way through to August the 7th. It can also bring superior blessings. I have so many artist friends who are born with Venus and Virgo, and actors that I know who are extremely method actors or detailed at their craft and are famous and super successful for the precision of their art. And at the same time, the Venus exalted in Pisces can lead to excesses of religious ideology. Or if you're a man and you have Venus in Pisces exalted in your chart in the Vedic tradition, you might end up in a sexless marriage, basically. So we can't just go Venus exalted good and Venus in Virgo bad, but we can actually say she works differently than she normally would in the sign that belongs to the mischief maker, Mercury. And so there is a quality in which she has to bring goodness through a difficult time for her. She just feels like she might be in the wrong place, but she'll work with what she has to do the best. Thus, I gave you the examples of the artists I know who have that position and have done extraordinarily well, because Venus rules the arts. She rules pleasure. She rules romantic love. She rules things to do with wellness financially, things to do with having the money and the resources to make your life pleasurable. And so when we look at her here, and we're going to talk about your sun, moon, and rising sign, as well as the world astrology, we're going to think about how we can improve those parts of our lives in a new way, in a more measured way, and in a more Virgoian way. And Virgo, she is energetically the priestess of sacred devotion, tending the flames like the Vestal Virgin. Where in your life, too, are you looking for your maiden innocence, your sacred calling? Where are you looking to purify your life? Because Virgo is that archetypal purification and wellness and health sign. And when Mercury goes into the heart of the sun to top it all off, which he'll be doing on the weekend, then you're also doubling down on a story that is about a renewal and a regeneration through a purification ritual or a purification act of some type. There may be a bit of the magician or the sorceress in you, and Virgo is that archetype as well. And so if you're looking to create some talismanic magic and make some shifts in your life, look no further than this week ahead. It might be exactly the time that you are ready for some deep magic in your life that you are initiating for your own good. Now, it doesn't have to be there wearing a robe and you've got a cat in a cauldron, not that kind of magic, just intentional magic, magic where you make a decision, set an intention, maybe do a vision board, maybe write down some intentions and put them in a journal, maybe stick them on your refrigerator, but putting intention into purification, intention into magic, intention into your sacred duty or calling is what I'm asking you to consider this week ahead. Now, we're going to break it down for your sign, which will be more specific, because there's one Virgo whole sign house in your chart, and there is one Gemini sky, which is where you have Uranus squaring her as the weekend approaches. It's quite intense. Uranus always brings a shock, a surprise, a break free, a breakthrough, or a divine download. So there's a lot of ways that this will play out. It doesn't have to be an unwelcome surprise. It could be a very welcome surprise, but it definitely can be something you didn't see coming. One thing I want to mention is the world, and I'm not going to do a lot of that today, but in the world astrology, you might notice that there are places and people and things that have strong Virgo placements. For example, Lebanon and Mexico have Virgo risings. And by the way, also in the country, the little blue and white flag country in the Middle East, that little blue and white flag country in the Middle East that's at war with all of its neighbors all of the time, also has a strong placement here because their own ruler, their prime minister, his name starts with a B. I don't want shadow bands. He's also got his midheaven in Virgo. And there may be some shocking surprises connected to a loss of power in the life of that particular individual as we go through the second half of this week into early next week. And it could also involve health challenges as well. So based on precedent, when he's had eclipses over his Virgo midheaven, where he also has Saturn, he's been having challenges to his health. First, there was food poisoning, and after that, there was the prostate situation and more. So we keep seeing that anytime something major impacts his midheaven, and this will do that, we might expect him to experience a challenge to his health. But I do believe also to his reputation and his power structures. As I record this today on July the 1st, there is new breaking news that he has been in charge of something called the Hannibal Directive. And if you don't know what that is, Google that word, Google October 7th, and then find out the latest information. It's not good for his reputation, and it certainly won't be good for his popularity within the new election that's coming this fall, I believe, for the prime ministership. So we might expect him to lose that election for sure. But in the shorter term, I'd say somewhere between possibly, I'm going to say a prediction for you, July the 9th and August 7th, you can expect him to have a major downturn in his popular appeal within his own country, not to mention, of course, the world esteem, which has already vacated and left the premises as we speak. So there is that. Now, the good news finally is there's a wedge forming in the sky with Chiron at 0 degrees of Taurus, and that's Venus's kingdom. And I'll be showing you the chart. That wedge formation can be a softening of the intensity of Venus on the south node opposite the north node. The wedge can bring us something positive, and it's going to play out in the Taurus whole sign part of your chart. And it'll feel like a chironic healing. Something that feels wounded will heal. There is a ladybug on my window, outside my window, and that's for you. Don't know what your relationship to ladybug energy is, but ladybug is of the nature of Mary Magdalene and divine feminine, and also of luck. And so we can see that we're getting a grace image, a grace energy of the ladybug on my window as I speak. I'm going to bring to you now the actual chart, and we're going to look at it as I go around the wheel and over the next hour talk about your week ahead. By the way, a colleague, friend, and teaching assistant of mine, her name is Sue. Her brand is Sue Loves Astrology, and she's teaching a love code course that's 2 weeks long, starting mid-July. And because you guys are in my crew, and because you're on my channel, if you want to get into that course, there is a discount code below for 33% off for the 2 courses. And I believe the first weekend she's teaching may be free. So it's really quite affordable. So you want to learn some Venus love codes in your chart and how to predict and use love stories using astrology. She's going to be an amazing teacher. It's one of her specialties, and I think you'll have a fun time. She's a Capricorn, and she's incredibly thorough in the way she teaches. All right, so I'm going to bring you guys over right now to the thing I want you to see, which is the sky. This is set for a Libra rising, just for no good reason, on July the 9th, and that's Venus's sign. And Venus is the Lord of Libra and the Lord of Taurus. You'll see here that Venus will be moving to 0 degrees of Virgo on July the 9th. And even though the week starts off with the Saturn square, which can be difficult for some world leader, okay, we'll just pass that up. This is a Saturn on the sun of Iran, and this is sun of Uranus over here, around 11 or 10 or 11 of Aries, 11 if I remember. And then we have a square by the sun. So there's tension in Iran's leadership structures, and maybe some difficulties with that country's leaders, or leaders here that may not be anything about that country, and leaders that have a strong signature. And this is coming up Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, this week ahead. So yesterday, today, and onward. This energy of the sun up here, which will be pretty exact on Monday or so, this can really open up problems with the little blue and white nation, because its house of leaders and people in charge of power and governance is in the sign of Cancer for the nation itself. So there is a possibility, because that nation is a Libra rising, that the square between the leadership of the blue and white flag nation versus the nation of Iran has hit some fever pitch. And as I said, you're going to see this pretty exact. I believe it's on Monday. Look at my notes here. Yes, on July the 6th, but it'll be building up Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, July 4th, 5th, and 6th. I'm recording this on July 1st. So I don't know what's happening, but with that Mars-Uranus conjunction on July the 4th, 5th, and then the sun leadership within the nation of in the Middle East with the blue and white flag, and its supposed arch enemy, Iran, I would expect some sparks to be flying. Okay, I don't know what sparks are flying, but there are sparks flying. And from Iran's position, this combustible, kinetic, explosive, shock and awe, Mars-Uranus war signature is in the house of neighboring energy, places around the country of Iran, not its territorial area, but it could be Karg Island, it could be Oman, it could be anything regional. And so there is that consideration as well. And you have, unfortunately, the energy of the blue and white nation right on the homeland territory from the solar chart of Iran, from the precision of its sun sitting close to the Saturn story, right? The whole delay of stuff moving through the Strait of Hormuz, however you say it, that's this sort of oil Neptune, Saturn hardship, combination, and it's where the ninth house sun of Iran sits in its Leo 70-degree rising chart. This is the rising sign of that nation of Iran here, and this is hidden enemies. So I don't think there's any measure of misunderstanding that the nation of the blue and white flag, is an enemy, but hidden enemies could also be matters connected to the United States of America, because the United States of America has its sun at 13 degrees of Cancer, July 4th. Happy birthday. So it's also hidden enemies within the United States that may be a problem for Iran on or about July 4th, 5th, and 6th. So I'm recording before this is happening, but you'll be listening to it after it happens. Lastly, of course, poor Lebanon, poor Mexico as Virgo risings, because as Venus enters into here with the South Node, it indicates something very difficult for each of those countries. So if I just move our chart ahead, so you're learning astrology with me, and I just take us over to a Virgo rising sky, so that would be Mexico and Lebanon. You can see the shock and awe in their 10th house. The 10th house for Lebanon is, of course, its leaders, its leadership, its reputation in the world. And there's that explosive, shocking energy going on up here. So there may be difficulties in the news cycle. They may be coming under some major turbulence, and there may be some shocking news about what's going on in that country vis-a-vis matters of explosives, detonations, or war. And as well, I don't think that's true for Mexico at this time, but this would be Mexico's leadership and its person in power. It's a female leader. Can't remember her name. I'm sorry, president. And so there may be some big shifts here too, some big explosive energies in that part of the world, because there's an agreement between Mexico, Canada, and the United States under negotiation right now, and for extension or not, like a free trade agreement. There also may be some explosive directions that's taking that nobody saw, that definitely does not serve Mexico. Like Trump says, well, we'll make an agreement with Canada, but not with Mexico. That kind of thing is possible under this kind of sky. Okay, and that wouldn't surprise me. And that would be just shocking news that destabilizes that country here, Mexico right here. Knowing that we're talking about the explosive, unexpected energies of Venus squaring Uranus later this week, as well as talking about the energy of Mercury coming into the sun's heart, and that will happen exactly on July the 12th. Okay. And it will be really about 20 degrees of Cancer. And that's a reset button of great magnitude for the world and each of us in our Cancer whole sign house. It's called a Kazimi. So this is the 9th, and because my brain is fried, I'll go to the 12th, which will be Sunday. So we're ending the week with the Kazimi. We're ending the week with Venus still on the South Node, now squaring Uranus, but also trining Chiron. And that's the wedge that we're really going to focus on for your sign. How do you listen for your sun, moon, and rising sign? People ask me all of the time. Let me explain it to you very briefly. When you were born, you were a spirit and you entered into the zone of matter, and you are playing here, hopefully, and having somewhat of a good time. And that's your sun energy. Your sun is your divine spark. It is your spiritual essence. It comes here from beyond space and time. It's ostensibly lived many different lives. And this aspect of you, this eternal nature, is one of the flavors of God or the divine or the creator or source. And you think about the 12 signs and the 12 sun signs, we have elements: earth, air, water, and fire. And we have modalities: fixed, cardinal, and mutable. You have a quality of the divine. You are an article of the universe, a tiny little spark of what is the one thing. And so when you think about your sun sign and you listen for that in astrology, you're thinking about your purpose for being incarnated. It often aligns you with career and aligns you with a sense of meaning. Your sun has to come into reality in a form called a body. That is your ascendant. Your ascendant is your character in the simulation of life. You could think of the sun as the movie actor, and you can think of the role in the movie that the actor is playing as your ascendant. So think about how your solar light infuses the character you're here to become and play. And that character is often cemented into being in the first 7 years of life. It's how you look, it's your personality traits and characteristics, it's how people respond to you, it's your mask and persona, and it's the vehicle for your spirit to play. And in many ways, it could be called a spacesuit. But I think this is a simulation. This ain't based reality. So in the simulation of life, like in the movie The Matrix, Neo is playing a character who works in an office in an unreal environment. And so your real self is somewhere else, but is playing this game. Now, when you think about your ascendant, you're going to notice that it's also very circumstantially accurate in terms of predictive value. That's because it's the beginning of the chart. It exists in the first house. It is what we call the helmsman energy, the steering wheel of your life. And often this part of the chart is going to be very sensitive to planetary transits and Time Lord tools. So you'll find it to listen in astrology for your ascendant or your rising sign is useful. To cast your chart in whole sign houses, you look below and get my free video tutorial. And you'll need to know a birth time in order to find your ascendant. Now, when you're listening for your moon sign is how you feel and how you think about your life. I think I think my partner's mean and not nice to me, and I feel really in love with my child or something. So your feelings are right here, and the solar plexus. Your thinkings are up here, and that thinking, feeling complex can be condensed into the word your mind. Your moon is your mind. It means many other things because the sun can represent dad, father figures, and the moon, mother and mother figures. But it's also your response to life, your subjective well-being, half full, half empty cup. Your moon is how you emotionally respond and think and respond, because every feeling is connected by a thought, and every thought has a feeling. Trust me on that one. So you listen to the moon sign when you want to hear how you respond to life in that emotional mental capacity. And it will often connect to matters of home. I always joke, every time a moon is eclipsed in my chart, my Aries moon, I always have a move within months. In fact, I just moved to a new place that you're seeing here from the March eclipse of my moon. So ultimately speaking, your moon is sensitive to domicile and where you live as well. So hopefully that helps you listen for all three. When we do the moon and sun, we just rotate the chart to the first house. So if you have an Aries moon like I do, we just spin the wheel. So we're as if Aries is an ascendant, but we talk about it as if it's an ascendant, and we call it your moon in Aries and derived houses. Same with the sun. We rotate the sun to the ascendant. All right. Whew, hopefully that makes sense to you guys, and go ahead and enjoy the rest of the video where I do the all signs portion. Now that you know what you're listening for, at least you'll know what to expect. All right, so let's go ahead and let's move over to the next story, which is Aries. We're going to take the chart back by hours, and we're going to start with Aries sun, moon, and rising. Hope this is entertaining at least. Like, subscribe, please. Hit the notification bell. It really does support the growth of the channel. And it tells the YouTube dreaded algorithm to not close me down, but keep my channel going. So strangely enough, a lot of channels stall out here on YouTube and never progress. Oh, and some exciting news. Amrit Sandhu has done an interview with me yesterday on June the 30th, and that should be coming out in July. And I will be letting you guys know when that happens. And I will be recording it the third week of July with Emilio Ortez. So I'm pretty jazzed. You get Leo into my seventh house, and suddenly I get generous, wealthy, successful, high-powered people wanting to be allied with me. I'm really grateful for that. Let's go ahead. I'm an Aquarius rising, and let's start with Aries, sun, moon, and rising sign. All right, so Aries, as the week begins, you start off like on Monday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Let's go Sunday, Monday. Just be careful Sunday, Monday, because there's that square between the sun and Saturn, and you might have a bit of a blowout with somebody in a power struggle, blowout, a disagreement with somebody in your domestic environment, somebody with whom you live. So if you're living alone, then don't worry about it so much. You just might have some kind of inner child work that comes to the forefront about your father and father figures that you're really needing to focus on, because it could be something that's important, and you need to dig in, maybe a bit of an inspection of your childhood, a reality check about your home life or something like that. And especially with the sun ruling your house of joy, fun, play, and pleasure, you're going to look at it from the lens of, is this inspiring or joyful or pleasurable, and how can I change it? And you'll notice that impetus is very active Sunday, Monday. Then when we move through the rest of the week and we come down the pipeline to Thursday, well, Venus is going to cross the Rubicon into the sign of Virgo and end up with the South Node. What do you need to let go of, surrender, and release when it comes to your home? To your work, your workload, your employees and employer stories. If you have employees, that's their servants. What are you getting ready to release, surrender to do with matters to do with pets and health? Now, the health of a pet could be jeopardized under this, but it will be a health challenge the pet has had before, returning thanks to Mercury retrograde. And Mercury retrograde is also pointing you to matters of domestic life. And so especially work and home life, health and home life. And retrograde Mercury says issues you've dealt with in the past are being reassessed. And Venus is like, Okay, I'm going to work on letting go of some kind of, maybe it's a pleasure like an addiction or something that doesn't work for your health. Could also be letting go of a food style, because if we're trying to Chiron, what in your food style path has been unhealthy for you, including addictive foods and beverages, including things that go through your nose and mouth. Well, if you had done anything that's not great for your health in your dietary habits, Venus is good here at helping you release, surrender, and let go, and move on to purify, purge, and renew yourself physically in your health matters. Chironic wounds about work and money are being healed at this time. If you've been wounded financially in terms of earnings, income, and resources, there may be an attempt by Venus to do some healing work, but you also may have to let go of something, let go of a job or an aspect of the work you do in order for this to occur. It's not what you add, it's what you release that leads to the right path for you. If you've always wanted a pet and you've been waiting for a pet, a soulmate pet can enter your life during this time. And Venus will be here offering those stories of soulmate pets, etc., all the way through to August the 7th. So it's not a bad time for a pet. Finally, what about that shock and awe story, too? Well, there's a surprise in the air and you didn't see it coming because it's here. Uranus, Venus, a surprise regarding a sibling, it may be an unpleasant surprise regarding the health of a sibling or a health of a sibling, specifically one younger than you and potential one younger than you, most likely. There is also the energy of an unexpected change of direction to do with your work. If you're working in the online space, if you're in the social media landscape, online space, you might be marketing, selling, writing, or teaching, there's a change of direction. Uranus can break you free and through. You'll notice that this is available to you. You'll have an awareness of it more clearly as the week goes on. So I want you to think about particularly July the 9th to about the 13th. Finally, the Heart of the Sun conjunction called the Kazimi will have its own dedicated video, as well as a new moon that's coming up. So I'm not going to cover it other than to say you're resetting something deeply profound in your life on Sunday, this end of this week. It has a 6-week rollout, and it's a reset of something fundamental to your career path. It's like you're going to change the root structures of purpose and career, and you're going to do it in a very deep way, a way that you haven't done for about 7 years. So we'll be doing a special dive into the Kazimi, and it's not going to happen on this video today, which is released on a Monday. I'll probably do the deep dive Kazimi this coming Thursday and probably prepare a webinar for you. So if you catch wave of anything here, the webinar, free webinar, a link will probably be under this video. All right, Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising, there is the energy of Venus, your Lord, your one that rules you, in your 5th house of pregnancy and fertility, love and romance, creativity, the muse, and of course your own children, as well as your entrepreneurial stories. So for Tauruses, Venus South Node can be a letting go of a love story or a separation or releasing of a child. Now, I don't mean you're going to walk away from your 4-year-old. I mean, you're going to maybe let them go their way, release an attachment or an over-functioning role in the life of a child. And there is also fertility. Venus is sperm and ovum, and it's a fertility house. So be careful. South Node would mean a soulmate baby being born to you that's destined and fated. And you're shocked and surprised because it's square Uranus. But so accidentally becoming pregnant for any Taurus, Sun, Moon, or Rising, especially Rising, maybe Moon, and especially connected to fertility, whether you're the male or the female. So a conception of a child could happen without any warning. You might not plan for it. And we're talking all the way through to August 7th. This is operational. There is a sort of a sense here that you're coming to a crossroads turning point in your money, earnings, resources story. There may be a pivotal moment where you're seeing an option around finances and what you want to do to accumulate money. And you might be looking for something that is going to be more aligned with your natural talents and gifts. Like if you're working in customer service, but you don't relate well to people, you're going to get out of that. You're looking at opportunities till all the way through to the 7th of August to align your earnings with something that's generating enjoyment, pleasure, but also an ease because you're using your talents, you're using your gifts. This is not hard for you to do. All right. So I want you to think about, oh my God, this is fun. I'm enjoying this. And don't forget, Venus and Virgo is precision. Like my daughter's learning to sew, and she's probably going to be, she's a Taurus, but she's also Virgo rising, super precision in her stitching work or something on a sewing machine. So go with your natural talents and gifts in new directions to make money is what I'm suggesting. And especially with Pluto and Juno in the 10th house, new work contracts may be germinating through to August 7th, but this week ahead starts that ball rolling. Unexpected financial surprises may emerge in your life from a sibling 4 older than you in birth order or 3 younger than you in birth order, or there may be some unexpected financial changes in the life of a child if you have children. And I'm just saying that's unexpected, not good nor bad, just unexpected. Because of Chiron forming a wedge, you're healing a deep chironic wound with love, romance, sexuality, entrepreneurial success, and chironic wounds connected as well to your relationship to your children and to even fertility. So you are willing to heal something because there's a breakthrough archetype happening here, and you're able to move away from it because Chiron is in a wedge to the nodes of fate. Lastly, that Kazimi of Mercury in the heart of the sun on Sunday, the 20th, I believe it's a Sunday, but anyway, was it the 20th? All right, no, it's the 20th degree on July the 12th. I don't know what day of the week that is. I believe it's a Sunday. Yes. Anyway, on July the 12th, that story, I'm going to do a free webinar. Come join me, link below. It's lots of fun. We'll do a meditation. But Mercury joining the sun in the 3rd house, that's like you want to reset your button down there, and you've got 6 weeks to see what happens. This is taking you back to 2019. It's not common the way this is happening. And you really want, could be in 2019, 20, you really want to reset your ability to do skills-based learning, to be a writer, to do skills-based teaching, to engage in social media in a way that you enjoy. Could be a reset button around relationship to siblings in general, and a reset button connected to your neighbors and neighborhood and how you engage socially in those environments. Sometimes here also with Mercury retrograde, you may get in touch with a friend that you knew in high school or elementary school from the past returning to you and really cementing a new beginning in a relationship to an old friend. And, that expression, make new friends, but keep the old. One is silver and the other is gold. There's a bit of that here for you as well. And it may be coming to pass starting on Sunday and add a few weeks afterward. I have a progressed Gemini sun, and we are talking Gemini. And Gemini sun, moon, and rising. Well, what happens here is we end up with a story of we are ruled by Mercury. Progressed planets are not as good as your natal. They're secondary indicators, but nonetheless, I'm paying attention. Mercury is retrograde, right? And Mercury will be retrograding for quite a while, all the way through until July 23rd. Most importantly, of course, this week as we approach Sunday, he births himself anew in a purification ritual in the heart of the sun. And you're purifying your diet, your food style, your face, your teeth. You're purifying your earning structures and money and wellness. So there's that energy of beginning, resetting, renewing, but purifying and ending one way as well. And that's kind of dominating the weekend, and will be resetting you for 6 weeks. And that Mercury Kazimi retrograde, we'll be doing a webinar on it. I want you to go back to 2019 maybe and 20 and think about how you engage that kind of renewal, rebooting back then as well. Because that's the most important thing for you, we still can't leave Venus out. She's in your 4th house of home, property, land, real estate, domestic, private life, and childhood stories. Having her down here with the South Node is what you need to surrender and release at a deep karmic level from the root system of your career and purpose. And it may be childhood lessons around romantic love and money, wealth and prosperity that you are literally having to reassess. And if that's true, then what you uncover, discover, and release here can be creating a healthier root system for expansion into worldly success in your career. Chiron offers up the possibility of borderless income and digital revenue, or bringing your soul to work, healing a part of work that felt soulless and bringing more soul into the work itself, bringing your spiritual self to the table, to the office boardroom, so to speak. Because you also have a shock or surprise, Uranus is in your sign. The insight is what you have. You don't have necessarily it's coming at you. It's happening in you. You are being activated, surprised, or shocked, but it's happening internally. It's like an aha, a divine download, a sudden insight. It's less likely to be out there in the world, but it's inside of you. So I want you to look very specially after Thursday when Venus enters into Virgo. And this could be an opening all the way through to August 7th of these kinds of sparkling divine downloads that give you some profound insight into what it is you need to know, because what you find from Venus could exalt your career and move it to a higher level. And so those insights, those dreams, those aha moments are so important. They're going to rejuvenate you, bring you more pleasure, bring you more satisfaction in life. But you have to receive the divine download first. With Mercury retrograde as well, the messenger says people, places, and things from the past can come to you, but his renewal reset in a livelihood house where you make money. Is there something you abandoned in the past, some way of generating revenue that can bring a great deal of worldly success, and it's time to go back to it? I can see that for you for sure in this sky. Come to my Mercury Kazimi webinar and have some fun. Link below. And we'll be doing a deep dive into this Kazimi with asteroids involved on this coming Thursday, 4 days after this video is released. All right, Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. You got a sky with a Mercury in your first house going backwards, and he will be retrograding, FYI, June 29th to July 23rd. So you're going back and ruminating about the past. You're changing your mind. You're rethinking things and revising things a lot. But also, he's going to hit that sun on the 20th and regenerate, renew as he dies in the heart of the sun and gets divine downloads from the principle of the universe that runs the show, the big kahuna up there in the top floor. So you're getting these sort of insights personally. You should definitely pay attention to your dreams. You should be listening to your inner voice. You should be looking for those signs and synchronicities all week long, but particularly as Saturday, Sunday, Monday come through this coming week, you are like an absolute antenna for divine guidance. So pay attention. Now, because you have Venus on Thursday, going into the South Node in your third house, or maybe a letting go, releasing, and surrendering of a situation involving a sibling, or there may be a challenge in the health of a sibling. In this chart, it's most likely connected to a sibling, one younger than you, but because Venus rules the sibling older, it's both. Venus trines Chiron and the sibling one older. She's with the South Node in the generic house of siblings. There's a major reorientation starting Thursday, coming all the way through to August 7th for how you orient to siblings in general, particularly one older and one below you. Siblings are taking up an awful lot of space if you have them. On the other hand, letting go, releasing, and surrendering, something you're doing in writing, communicating, marketing, selling, and social media. If you work in a social media landscape, third house, 11th house energies are asking for a reorientation. You want to move into a better flow or calibration of purpose and meaning in what you're actually doing in those environments. Sometimes you could have to surrender or release a travel opportunity that was maybe in the works under this kind of sky, especially if travel was connected to siblings. However, with the North Node activated also in a travel house, there may be an opportunity for a trip connected to friends, groups of belonging, or a sibling that can be very healing. And it may be actually the very thing your soul needs is that journey. So through to August 7th, you'll be asking yourself if that's true. The square to Uranus is a bit of a surprise. It might blindside you. There's something you're not seeing coming at you from the house of hidden enemies, but also from a house that has to do with things that are within a sort of partition from your perspective. You can't quite see it. So there may be some unexpected developments. It can involve travel, like your tickets are canceled, the flights aren't happening, but it can also involve things to do with your inner work. So this is like, you got a lot of messages from Mercury right now. Please pay attention to your dreams. What may surprise you as a 12th house surprise could be an expense, but if there's unexpected expenses, they're probably not directly yours. Jupiter's giving you lots of prosperity over the next year. It could be an expense connected to a sibling or to a friend. Anyway, whatever the expenditure is that surprises you, it may also involve things to do with, an expense connected to where you live, like the neighbors or the neighborhood, or if you have, what do you call those things? Strata groups and neighborhood associations. And suddenly there's a massive expense that you have to contribute to in that kind of environment. That would be the most likely benevolent way this could play out. You certainly don't want to have the shocking surprise of a sibling or a friend suddenly heading to the hospital, but it could be that this week ahead in particular, especially as we approach the weekend into early next week, could show up as that story. And Venus is in the house of a sibling one younger, specifically, just so you know. So heads up, forewarned, forearmed as well. All right, so let's keep on with the next story. Good luck with that, Cancers. Leo, sun, moon, and rising. Well, we have a week ahead. Just don't forget, the beginning of the week, there's a bit of a gnarly. I'm not doing this for every sign, but a little tension here for you in the 9th house and the 12th house. So there may be some tension here with a father figure or somebody in an advisory role telling you what to do, but also watch for international themes that bring you a bit of grit on Monday. More importantly, and the sun is your ruler, right, in your 12th house. I can see travel problems and tension around travel. Yeah, Sunday, Monday. But then we move forward. There is something going on in the life of Leos about your money. And I want you to really sit with this for a minute. It's not catastrophic, but it is surprising. Because Venus is moving into your resources house, right? The money you possess, your wallet, your pocketbook, your savings, and the money you're earning. And she's with the South Node. And this is where eclipses have been happening for you, Leo, for 18 months anyway. You already know the turbulence here. I hope you've experienced some changes anyway in how you earn, resource, and save. And you might be depleting your savings or knocking down your bottom line on your wallet, over the last 18 months. But Venus here is the goddess of money, and she's fallen and she's with the South Node. And well, she is square Uranus starting on July the 9th, and you feel this most acutely or intensely as we approach Saturday, Sunday, into Monday, where she gets into a more exact square to Uranus. So the shock and surprise about money. It's money connected to 11th house matters, gains of your career, friends, groups of belonging, a sibling one older. Now, it doesn't always have to be bad because, Venus and Uranus just mean an unexpected financial situation. The South Node, though, may be about release, what it has to be released in order for something good to emerge. And technically, with Mars close by, usually it's what you cut, end, and sever, what you release, not what you add. So you might be releasing some financial earnings situation maybe, and refining it because the trine from Venus to Chiron, right, and forming a wedge with the nodes of fate will align you with more genuine feeling of purpose within the context of work, reputation, and career. And there may be a reduction of finances in the short term, but a greater exhilaration and excessively positive longer term stories. Chiron's until September 17th up there in your 10th house. So you may be feeling wounded in your work. Like, this is hard. This is too much. I'm not too sure about this. I don't know if I can keep on going. Something about feeling like a chironic wound in work could be here. And Venus is trying to break you free of a rut or a difficulty or something that's not working in the earnings and work. If you're retired, I don't know, guys. I hate when you guys ask me that. What do you do in life that everyone witnesses you doing that's visibly connected to your actions and reputation? That's got a little chironic wounding till September 17th. And Venus is like in the money house as well. You could translate this, of course, to any other area of the sky, but all said and done, it looks to me like you're working more money stories out and you have unexpected surprises as well. Venus does rule your social media landscape. And, Uranus here could get you a viral hit in something you're doing online. And maybe you're going to get a surge of money, actually, like a windfall. So it doesn't have to be bad, but there's some deeper spiritual lessons here, Leo. So look to what are you trying to learn about authentic pleasure and joy when it comes to earnings, job, and career? Because there's a lesson in this for you. Mercury in the heart of the sun. Come to my Mercury Kazimi webinar in the link below. The description box, there's my free access to that course. And the idea here is that I'll be doing a special video on this, that this is a reset button in the 12th house. You can reset your own self-undoing, worst enemy, self-sabotaging habits, patterns, and behaviors. Or you could be doing a reset in how you make money internationally from far off people, places, and lands. And that includes international revenue, borderless income. And there's a new beginning that's starting, but a purification. I didn't mention this, but if you have an addiction, Venus is purify your diet. I don't care, Haagen-Dazs, wine, weed, song, I don't know. What's your addiction? This would be a divine download, insight, recalibration, letting go of something in your dietary habits that you really need to let go of. You'll be doing that through to August 7th. It's a good time for a purge, a purification, a dietary reset, no doubt about it. So if you want to try that July 9th to August 7th, I say go for it. Virgo, sun, moon, and rising, you're ruled by Mercury, and he's retrograding until July 23rd. And this week he goes on Sunday into the heart of the sun. So this is going to be an important turning point for you, the Sunday, July the 12th event. I believe it's a Sunday. And you can see yourself in a new way with this reset in terms of your long range goals and dreams for your life. It's almost like you're having an opportunity coming up this weekend, especially on Sunday, to reset your whole vision and your whole 5-year plan, your whole dreams of what you want to your life to look like. You saw this energy, this kind of Kazimi back in 2019. And it's kind of like a new beginning in friendship circles and groups as well. And because the Kazimi happens, say, on the 12th, you're going to give it up to 6 weeks to show you who is this new social set, this new social crew that you're now going to engage with in the aftermath of this purification of Mercury. And it's also a purification of how you earn money. And because Venus is squaring Uranus Mars this week in your 10th house, especially after Thursday, there may be an unexpected, shocking change in your livelihood, in your job, in your career path. Now, I'm not as worried about it as I would be because in this case, I think having your Lord of your sign in a house of good spirit where we feel like pennies from heaven land on our head, you're probably going to accept that something is changing in the work environment. It may surprise you, but you're also relieved. The company shutting down the division, don't take it personally, or something like that. Or you get a sudden shocking surprise that you're actually happy to get. Like you're getting, windfalls, you're getting more money, a promotion, a better office space, something like that. But there is a change and there is a surprise, and it will connect you to your career space and to how much money you can earn and will be earning, because Venus rules the second house of earnings. The South Node, though, is you also letting go of something that may impact, especially Virgo rising, your body. Okay. Anything that's not good for your body, releasing and surrendering it, usually a pleasure that you orally imbibe. It could be, a vape, a weed habit, wine, too much food, because Venus South Node is to purify, let go, and she rules the house of what you put in your mouth. And there may be kind of a sudden, shocking turning point where all at once you realize you're just done with that path. It's no longer right for you. It doesn't even feel hard anymore. You're just like instantly complete with it. No more of that binging on that food that's bad for me or that substance. Now, there is a surprising element in the 10th house, and that is your career, and that can be the bosses and stuff. So it doesn't have to be you. Like, say you work in a corporate setting, the boss says, I'm quitting my job. Well, maybe that's good for you because now you have space to move up. So I don't want you to think only negative here. The trine to Chiron is aligning you more deeply with purpose, and that's the human resources department. So there's something going on where you could be moving into a higher level in your career because someone else is leaving. Lastly, listen to the guides, the shamans, the mentors, but listen to your therapist, your guidance counselor, your advisor, your pastor, your preacher, flowing to you with Venus on the South Node. These guidance systems of others that support you in life are very reliable for you, not just this week ahead, all right, but all the way through till August the 7th. All right, this is an important time for that. Even marriage counselors in this chart, listen to their guidance. They have something really powerful to offer you. Come to my Mercury webinar. This is a very powerful, not seen since 2019 reset button in your 11th house. The rollout will be about 6 weeks after. You want to learn more? You want to come to my webinar. Free. Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign. Come on, guys. What are you doing here? There's a new energy coming through Venus, the Lord of your sign, about what you have to let go of it. You are your own worst enemy because of it. Are you unfortunately, doing things that are sabotaging your highest good? What are the habits? Are they food styles? Are they addictions? It's time to release, surrender, and simply let go. It will improve your health. And if you're working too hard, North Node in the 6th house with eclipses for the last 18 months, time to slow down your work pace. With Jupiter having been in your 10th house, the North Node in your 6th house, you busted your ass, you worked hard, and you were successful. But this time to really take care of your health. And Venus is a purification in the 12th house. Ashrams, time out. What else? The spas where they give you no food and you cleanse out or whatever. If you can do any of that kind of cleansing spa time or getaway or solitude, it's also good for your soul. You're also going to be much more healthy, especially Libra rising, but all Libras in general. Now, Venus is going to give you a shocking surprise. On Thursday, she moves into the South Node 12th house, and then by the weekend and into Monday next week. So she's going to hit that. So we're talking about the 12th, 13th. She's going to hit that tight square to Uranus. So as we move toward the weekend, there's something you don't see coming. It could be a trip cancellation. It could be a pilgrimage situation that's not going to go the way you wanted. It could be a change in plans regarding book publishing deals or things to do with legal cases. And there's just something changing and you didn't see it coming and it kind of blindsides you a little bit, maybe. Also, Libra, if you are in any kind of employment with a foreign company from your natal country, or you work in another country and make money, or you are an international revenue curator of some kind, then there is also a surprise in that area of your reality. A canceled trip would be very obvious under this sky, especially. So unexpectedly seeing that trip isn't going to happen would be late this week into early next week. So by the 14th or so, from about the 10th to the 14th. The energy of the North Node is very important to you under the sky because Uranus is bending that North Node. And so there's something about any cancellations of trips or whatever this ninth house thing is, turning points regarding international people and places. It's going to benefit your health. It's going to benefit your work in the long run. It's going to add better things to both of those placements. Now, because also Chiron is being trined, there may be some chunky money that you may be able to attain by September 17th. And it also may be connected to more acute energy through to August 7th, where Venus could bring money from somebody in a hospital setting who's not doing well physically, but there's something that you can generate from that, some positive financial chunks of money that you're not earning. And with Saturn and Neptune in the setting place of the 7th, an elder passing could be coming through here. Could be a grandparent or a parent who's elder. And so just watch for that. And that could lead to some indication of transfer of legacy wealth. And you may learn of this possibility. Can also be the passing of an in-law as well, if you have them, and legacy wealth transferring to you through that in-law system. Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising this week ahead. You're going to have Venus, and she's going to be absolutely doing something interesting as she crushes it here. No, she's going to move into the South Node. And this is going to be a place where she has to get something out of her system, release it. And Venus in the 11th house is many things, but it can be connected to your friendship groups, your sibling one older, benefactors, people who wish to help you, and letting someone go. Female, probably. This is Venus after all, a releasing of a friendship or a friendship releasing you. But we also have a lot going on in the 11th house that has to do with our forward looking way of imagining our next steps in life, our kind of advanced guard of career success, our visions and goals and 5-year plans. And there's a releasing, surrendering of something. Something wants to fall away. You may even fall away from an earnings path, but with Jupiter in your 10th house over the next year, whatever you're doing in your career and reputation space, you're having prosperity and enjoyment. So what you let go of within the year, you'll see that it was for your highest good. The releasing of something, though, work-related, career-related, job-related, may be very obvious to you before August the 7th. Venus is trining Chiron in the marriage house, healing some wounds around business partners, long-term relationship connections, and finding the flow between the nodes of fate. Because ultimately Chiron is activating the North Node as well in a sextile. It may invite you to more joy, fun, play, and pleasure in your primary long-term relationship, but also could also activate a little bit of romantic love. And you might feel a little more into your partner than you normally are. Your partner also could be going through a chironic healing about some of their own issues in their own reality. There's a lot going on here for you. Scorpio, what about the shock and awe? Well, there is a shocking, chunky money surprise, maybe coming from in-laws, maybe coming from your own family of origin, as Mars, Uranus, trine Pluto in the 4th house. And I don't know, but you could be finding yourself coming into a bit of money coming through the sky. And this may be true all the way through till August the 7th. If you do, it would be someone in your family of origin transferring some wealth your way. And under many different circumstances, but certainly inheritances count. See, Mars is your ruler, and he's with shock and awe Uranus. He's squaring Venus, the goddess of money, with the South Node. You could let go of an earnings strategy, an earnings path in your career, but it will connect you instead to other forms of sustainable money that come in a chunk. A tax rebate, an insurance payout, a royalty check, or an inheritance, or some money coming through the in-law structures if you are with a marriage partner. Alrighty? Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising this week ahead. It's going to open up some Venus stories on July 9th as she slides her ass into Virgo. your 10th house of career, she's fallen here. She's not in her favorite sign. I introduced the beginning how this is not at the end of the world. So watch the intro, please. But the South Node says she's got to help you let go of something connected to your reputation or your career, and maybe very much connected to the way you engage in livelihood, whether you're retired or not. What are you doing that the world visibly sees you doing that you qualify as accomplishment? Now, you're going to surrender, release, or let go. And this is true through till August the 7th. Whatever you're letting go of, it also is attended to by a Chironic trine, especially this week, especially Thursday through to next week. And so you might be thinking, I want to release something in my career because it's going to improve my health. It's going to improve my work routines. It's going to improve my meaning and satisfaction with my job. You don't have to let the whole job go. You could let go of a part of the job. To be literal, a female in the workplace or job setting may leave, and that opens up new advancements for you. Now, because there's a square by Venus to your Mars Uranus in your marriage house, business partnership deals, significant others, there is a bit of a shock here. And it could be, if you are a married Sag, that your partner's having a massive shift of reality, a major change, even a significant change in their relationship to their childhood family of origin. And perhaps for your significant other, money coming in through their family system. But whatever the surprise is, whatever the shock is, it may not be yours. It may be connected very much to what's going on in the life of a partner. You see, Jupiter is your ruler, and he's having a great old time in your 9th house. He's really rolling through there. And if there is a surprise regarding marriage, this would be divorce, separation, surprises. And yet your partner's cutting out. They're leaving. They're announcing it. They're serving up the papers. But don't worry, if you have to go to court in the next year about shared resources, you're doing fine with Jupiter in the 9th house of legal matters. Mercury and the Sun are coming together, and they're going to indicate something to do with their cosmic reset on your chunky money, including shared spousal resources, separation agreements, and inheritances. I can see some of you Sagittarius looking at changes of where you live because of this sky, but you're not likely to make a domicile change quite yet. You might be more likely to do that maybe in September, but there's something going on between now and August 7th where you're wondering if maybe you're willing to, wanting to, thinking of surrendering where you currently live and moving somewhere else. Could be connected to work and could be connected to marital situations already. And lastly, I'd say, holy man, like Jupiter's flowing to you in a trine. No matter what goes on, what shit hits the storm and storm hits the shit, so to speak, don't worry about it. Because yeah, it might be all about that business partnership crumbling, that significant other shocking you with unexpected developments. All said and done, Jupiter is flowing to you in a beautiful trine. It doesn't even have the bothersome South Node with him till July the 27th. So ride the wave of being loved up with trinal rays of fire at you. Jupiter's got your back. You're okay no matter what. Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising sign in the sky. It tells me that you have a narrative here to do with a powerful cosmic reset button in your 7th house. I'm starting there. This is Sunday the 12th because you'll feel it building onto from Friday. It's purging, renewing, releasing, resetting, just like 2019, your long-term committed love relationship house. How did you do those resets back then? 2019, 20, here you go again. Now, the thing about that is that this is felt by you as something that unfolds over about 5 to 6 weeks after this weekend. So we're doing a webinar on this, right? So come to my webinar to learn how to harness this energy of this retrograde Kazimi in your 7th house of committed love and business partnership. With Mercury retrograde, there is a potential of an old business partnership alliance or a former long-term committed love person returning to you after the Kazimi. And so look for this like approximately, especially through till July 23rd or even to August the 6th, right? August the 6th, because that's still the post shadow of the retrograde. This could incite a return of a former committed love partner into your life. Now, whether you're going to stabilize that into a relationship or it's just a fulfilling of loose ends tied up, I don't know. But there is that vibe on this Kazimi for some of you. And I do want to say that when the Kazimi is happening, the moon is in dignity in the 7th house, could be very auspicious new beginnings if there's going to be a reestablishment of a former relationship. In the meantime, business partners from the past are coming back as well if needed. And now the second thing is, what about Venus? Well, on July the 9th, she's moving this week, Thursday, I think, into your ninth house with the South Node. This is surrender, release, and let go of a belief, of a religious path, of a planned trip abroad, of some kind of legal matter that isn't worthy of your attention. Time to surrender your divine purpose and meaning of life to something deeper and more spiritual than worldly success. This is good for book publishing, but you're coming into book publishing from a surrendered place. And because Venus is going to conjunct the South Node and be very activated here Thursday, but through till early next week, Monday even, there's also the fact she's squaring Uranus for the shock and awe. Now, where the shock surprise can come from in this nodal energy of the South Node square Uranus at the nodal bendings is major changes in your life connected to pets, to work and job opportunities, to matters connected to debts and indebtedness, including literally credit card debts or spousal support agreements. In fact, that could even be what we're seeing. There's something here with the sixth house that you might be beginning to reorient something very dramatically and very swiftly to do with your health. But if you do any swift dramatic health rearrangements, you know what I mean? You're doing it connected to dietary challenges and changes of habit. The shock and awe in the sixth house sometimes can be about your employees quitting or about an unexpected development with a servant. What kind of service do you have? Someone that you've hired. But yet the South Node says it's all very international in some way. South Node is past lives and sixth house is karma and karmatic debt. So you're fracturing and breaking free and through a massive karmatic debt story of some kind. That's best I can say. And you might feel it as a more subtle thing, a metacosmos, spiritual, between the world's energy, houses 6, 9, and 3. So it may not be on the outer plane as much as all that. It might be like a turning point in your spiritual direction connected to karmic debt relief and turning points connected to past lives. But having Venus on the South Node could bring you back into contact with a significant love relationship. Venus rules your romance house. But we go to the past, we go to past lives, and we often go to foreign lands or far off places when we see the ninth house activated. If you're looking for a job, she rules your 10th house. A sudden, unexpected job opportunity that surprises you may emerge anytime, by the way, between July the 9th and August the 7th. So good luck with that. All right. I'm an Aquarius like you, sun, moon, and rising sign. We have a powerful week ahead. Most often, I would start with something connected to your Saturn, but he's the smallest player of the week. But on Monday, he does have a bit of a square problem, Sunday, Monday. Maybe feel it Tuesday to the sun. And the energy would be kind of like, goodness gracious, how will you feel? Coming into Sunday, Monday, you just might feel a little bit out of your own skin in a way. Let me take a look at the exact date that is happening. I have it on July the 6th, which is Monday. So it's kind of at 14 degrees. The sun will be at 14 degrees of Cancer, and the Saturn will be at 14 degrees of Aries. Goodness gracious, that's right on my natal sun. So look on Monday to feel this kind of crunchy feeling here, as Saturn will be in that temporary power struggle with the sun. This is employees. This is social media. This is matters connected to work. This is your online landscape. This is your sibling relationships and a challenge of health in a sibling relationship. Like you're maybe a sibling is having a health challenge as well, and you get the news of that coming through early this week. Now, if there is a challenge to the health of a sibling, it can also involve the need for them to spend some time in a recovery, like a hospital or a medical clinic of some kind. And there can be some tension here regarding your work environment impeding abilities to travel, and you wanted to journey somewhere and now you can't. Maybe obligations for work are at odds with plans you had structured regarding travel, and there's just a tension on Monday about what to do about that. Watch your own health, of course, but the sun with Mercury here in the house of digestion, for example, and Saturn, kind of like crunchy vibrations, just could feel really squishy for you. That's all, squishy energies around taking care of your health as you're grinding away at some third house activity. Now, we want to go past Saturn. We want to talk next about, on Thursday, Venus will go into the South Node territory. She will be on the nodal axis, and she will be surrendering and letting go of something. Eighth house. Eighth house can be psychological, psychospiritual, and can be very spiritual energy, moksha, liberation, all that good stuff. And so you might be on a very deep spiritual releasing going on throughout the window of July the 9th to August 7th. But there's money in that eighth house quite often. It's chunky money, and it's money you're not earning. It's shared resources with others. It is trining Chiron in the fourth house. So the Chironic wound can have to do with home, homeland, ancestral stories, connection to your childhood, and letting go of a sort of fixed pattern that no longer serves you when it comes to finances in general. Because clearly the North Node is helping you increase your financial success and reach for some more, and yet at the same time, Venus is saying, let's surrender some as well. It could be a form of earnings that you're letting go of as well, right? Like a way that money comes to you, not all of the money that you need to let go of, just some of it. The square to Mars and Uranus is shock and awe connected to children, lovers, romantic love, and also pennies from heaven, including windfalls here, because this is the house of windfall. Winning money is a house of gambling, gaming, and speculation, your fifth house. Now, we can say there can be a shocking surprise that has life turning point power, Mars, Uranus. And with Venus in the house of chunky money, that's the money, guys. That's like, here you go. The government gives you a chunk. In fact, she rules your house of the government institutions. And so, governments run lotteries in most countries. And so my government in Canada, they run lotteries. So this could pay out. This could actually be a positive surprise that you may come into some money. And it can begin to be true July the 9th through to August the 7th. So yes, play some lottery tickets, but know your limit and play within it. And with Mars ruling the house of siblings and being in the house of the sibling too younger than you, if there's any challenges in the health of a sibling too younger than you, right? This can play out this week ahead as well, especially approaching the weekend as you go Thursday through to Sunday, Monday next week. Okay. All right. Let's see what happens with that, guys. And Mercury retrograde, come to my Kazimi. He's going to bash into the sun here on Sunday. He's going to reset his button to purify your health. He's retrograde. He's trining the North Node in what you put in your mouth. So something to do with food style could change. And he's purifying your health. And he may open up channels to do that through dietary habits. This is the stomach and digestive path as well. So looking to digestively repair yourself or change your food style. But this reset button lasts 6 weeks, right? Not a day in the life of. So you kind of got a vibe starting on Sunday. Come to my webinar and learn about it. In 2019-20, you kind of had this reset here too. Once a year, each of those years, maybe you reset your dietary path and habits. Then funny, in 2020, I went into Sober Sisters and I stopped drinking for like 6 months out of that year, decided that I was so depressed and anxious in the pandemic and living alone in Montreal. I went into a great program by Jen Couch called Sober Sisters. I love that program. And I have friends from it still. So I probably say to myself, I'm going to, lay off the wine and martinis or something for my health. And I'm already doing that, but it will really kick in as an imperative on July the 12th. All right. What about last but not least, best and always best, Pisces, sun, moon, and rising sign? This is quite clearly for you a narrative that tells me you're going to find yourself this week ahead with Venus segueing on Thursday into the sign of her detriment in the house of committed long-term love stories and business partnerships. Also your audience and marketplace. Now, this might be about a partner. Now, it can be a spouse, right? We're talking about that level of commitment or a common law partner, but there is a South Node Venus moment in their lives. They are releasing, they are letting go, and they are surrendering something in their own reality. It's not you. They are purifying. They are purging. They are realigning. They are reassessing something. And by Thursday, you can see this in your business partner, main squeeze partner, or some audience client member. This releasing, letting go, surrendering is happening for them, ruled by Mercury, who's retrograde in the fifth house of pleasure. So quite clearly, some of them may be releasing some pleasurable activity or pleasurable food style or pleasurable anything that's just not good for them. And there's interesting energy coming here this week ahead in a relationship, right? because the South Node had eclipses for 18 months for you here. So a lot of Pisces rising, especially, have been dealing with a lot of interesting developments in committed love. But Mercury rules this Venus South Node, and South Node means the past, not just past lives, but just the past. And Mercury's retrograde, and he's the past. And it's lovers and romantic partners from the past connected to the 7th house of commitment. So yeah, some of you may be experiencing, starting on July the 7th to August 7th, the return of former partners. This reset button, this Kazimi in your 5th house of romantic love, starting on Sunday, add 6 weeks, has the same story as Venus with the South Node. So by the time we get to early August, some of you may have a return of former romantic, sexual love and committed people to your life. Maybe just a phone call, maybe a text message, maybe a real connection. I don't know. Coming through the sky, a Mercury retrograde Kazimi on Sunday. Could also be unexpected news that reveals something in the life of one of your children. As you hear about it, Venus represents fertility. Maybe one of your kids is announcing pregnancy. The other element of the 5th house is your own enjoyment, pleasure, and fun. And you're resetting a button here starting on Sunday. So come to my Kazimi webinar because you're reassessing creativity, the muse, inspiration, enjoyment, and fun. You haven't reset this button since 2019, and then once again, I believe in 2020. So how you reset those buttons of love, romance, pleasure, fun. All right, these are things that you're redoing again, and you haven't done it for a long time, so it's a new story. And the sudden shock and surprises about where you live. Some of you are like, what the hell? You know, there's sudden changes to domicile because your Mars, Uranus are co-joining and they are bending the nodes of fate together, bending the North Node in particular in your sign. And any domicile changes are connected to your children or maybe business or love partners. I don't know what it is, but there is a surprise and it does look like a home change. And so don't be surprised because I'm giving you a warning. Now, of course, it could be something in the home, right? We're talking about the opening of this energy being really activated as soon as we see Venus entering into Virgo on Thursday, but more acutely squaring Uranus next week, kind of like the 12th, 13th, 14th. So look for some surprise around domicile, home, things going on in your home. Mars likes to travel from home. There may be unexpected journeys away from your home, especially if they're to far off lands or distant shores from where you're currently domiciled, right? So there may be unexpected long distance travel opportunities emerging coming up this coming weekend into early next week. Jupiter in your 6th house of work, Mars ruling the 2nd house of money, Jupiter ruling your 10th house of career. There's some changes some of you may have because a opportunity may be connected to the past, connected to work, and offers and opportunities may come your way. Some of you may get an unexpected work opportunity that also foists you in travel or moving from where you currently live. Look to July 9th to August 7th for some of those themes of moving to be true. And with Mars not leaving your 4th house until August the 11th, if you are going to move, then it would be before that you know that a move is nigh, so to speak. Okay? I know. What if you're single? You could date somebody new under this, but the South Node Venus fallen isn't the most auspicious new beginning for a relationship. So if it's not from the past, then maybe take a pass. Okay? All right. So that's what we got, and we're done with the share. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. And come to my webinar for the Mercury Kazimi. It's free. We do a meditation. We look at the minor asteroids. It's a lot of fun. I do these about 6 times a year. And if you're at all interested in coming to Sky Reader and becoming your own astrologer and timing your best life, I'd love to see you guys there. I keep forgetting to look there instead of here because I'm trying to record on my iPhone to get better video quality under the insistence of my audience and team. So let's see if this is helping. You get to see more of my wrinkles without any filters. All right, guys, see you in the next one. Take care and have a wonderful week ahead.
Lunatic Astrology.